Hey guys, it's Matt with CJ Off-Road here. Now I'm in front of my 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Eco Diesel, and I've got a bunch of parts laid out here on the table that you might be confused as to what I'm installing. But if some of you might have gotten the hint, this is going to be a brand new Bestop Supertop Ultra that I'm installing on my 21 Rubicon. Now all in front of me, I've got a bunch of the kit components that come in the box. There's bows on the floor, and the windows and actual top assembly is over to the side here. This is just a ton of pieces that we couldn't lay out all on the table, but it's going to give you a complete and utter transformation to your Jeep Wrangler. Now what's neat about the Supertop Ultra is that it comes in a twill material, which is extremely durable and gives a nice pure black. Now what's cool about the twill also is that if it gets mud or other debris, even sand or sediment onto it, it actually wipes off a heck of a lot easier than the sailcloth material. Now with this Bestop Supertop Ultra, this literally includes everything that you need if your Jeep came equipped with a hardtop to get it installed. And what I mean by that is that it comes with all the framing, all the hardware, every nut and bolt. If you're ordering this from us here at CJ Pony Parts and it is a Bestop soft top, you can be sure that it has the highest quality and fitment, and you're going to see that in today's video when we go ahead and install everything here. It really is a truly complete soft top that has everything that you need to get it installed. So that being said, we're going to do a little bit of work here on the table to get some prep work done. We've got our hardtop pulled off and we can get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to do here on the table is assemble your upper and lower rear section for the soft top bow support. Now what you're going to need to do is use the M6 bolt with the U-nut on the back side. The U-nut is going to go on the upper half and the bolt is going to go through the bottom half, and then just go ahead and snug that up. There is a left and a right hand side, and you'll want to make sure that the inner structure looks the exact same on both, and both of these are flared towards the rear of the vehicle. The next step is to go ahead and grab your flat panels here. Now here's where we went ahead and installed them, and it gives you guys a little bit more customization. You can actually go ahead and paint these. So these can be all painted to whatever color you'd like and then installed afterwards. So if you have a cool accent color that you're going with, go ahead and paint it up there and then install them using the T8's tiny screws. Now once you have both of these assembled, you're pretty much ready to go here on the table. You can see I've installed actually these longer screws here, and I just have them in there for reference. These are what is going to go through your roll cage and then up through to hold the bow system on. So go ahead and set the rails into place, and all you have to do that is basically line it up with this bottom post at the seal, and then up top there are going to be just two little areas that notch right in, and this is going to completely sit into that post. And then go ahead and grab your two longer Torx bolts. Go ahead and install your Torx bolts up through the bottom. These are the longer ones. And then we're going to go ahead and get those snugged up using a T40 Torx bit. And then go ahead and install another T40 Torx screw into this lower section. And that's actually one of the bolts that are removed for your hardtop. So we're just going to go ahead and get this one started too. Brandon's got his started over on the other side, and then we'll get that tightened down as well with the T40 Torx bit. It's nice too. Bestop includes a nice, looks like a foam gasket down there, so it's going to protect the paint and tighten down nice and tight. So then onto the front section, basically this side is going to slot into that rear section, and then push it back as far as you can. Same thing up top here. These are going to drop into place. It does help if you can kind of get up a little bit higher and take a look at it. So once you have both of these screws in, this was a little bit tighter of a fit up front here. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit tighter, and that's what you want, honestly, with a soft top, is to be nice and snug. We're gonna go ahead and tighten these down as well using a T40 Torx bit. So the next step is going to be to install the rear brackets here for the soft top. Now, if your Jeep came factory with a soft top, these brackets are already popped off and you do have the bracketry in place. However, with a hard top, my covers are on here and we need to put the brackets into place. So just go ahead to remove these. Just give them a nice firm pull outwards. And they're just gonna pop right off. Now you won't need to reinstall those, but just in case you wanna put your hard top back on in the winter, I like to keep them. That way you can slot them back into place. Now with the bracket here, what we're gonna go ahead and do is grab the right-hand side. It says right hand and 4-door on it. And then the arrow you want to be facing downward, so all the writing will be upside down, and that's the way they want it to go. Now if you look at the back of this, there's 2 pins here. So there's 2 little slotted pins. The one is gonna go up top in this slot, and the bottom one is gonna go in that hole. And once they slot in, go ahead and install our hardware with the provided washer. And we'll just get that one snugged. And then using a T40 Torx bit, go ahead and get these tightened down. The next step is to go ahead and install your tailgate bar surround, and this is the corner section that will hold on the tailgate bar once we have the whole top on. Now these are side specific and they're just gonna match the contour of the tub. Go ahead and grab your provided T50 Torx bolt. This is a longer one. I like to clean the surface. I did it off camera here, but clean the surface you're gonna be setting it onto. And then we'll go ahead, set it into place, drop our bolt through, and then get it tightened down using a T50 Torx bit. So it's the first time in this installation that we've had to use the T50, but there are a lot of little Torx screws installed, so make sure if you're doing this install, at least have a small set of even the handheld Torx bits, or a little socket rail will be really nice for this. So the next step here is to install this mechanism which allows the top to flip back. So this actually has a nice little yellow latch at the bottom. Make sure that is facing down, and these are side specific. So when you're looking at each side, you'll want to make sure that this upper portion is facing the inside of the vehicle. So this will kick out towards the inside, and you will have 2 different sides of this. You can't honestly really install them on the wrong side because they are slotted in the back here, but we're going to go ahead and also take this portion which holds together your bows when it's folded back, slide it onto this lower section, right like so, and then we can go ahead and get this into place. And using our 10mm flange nuts, we can install 3 of them per side. And we're just gonna get these snugged up. Do not tighten them all the way down because as you can see up top, there are welded in nuts, so we will be using these brackets and need to make sure that they have a little bit of flexibility or play. And then using a 10mm ratchet wrench or regular socket, go ahead and, like I just said before, snug these up, but not all the way tight. The next step is to install bow number 6, and that's the one that's gonna go towards the back of the vehicle. You're gonna slot this on to that bracket you just installed, and then use the T30 shouldered screws through the outside. This is a mouthful to get through, and go ahead and get those snugged up. Now this is going to want to fall too, so we'll hold it up there and use our T30 and get it tightened down. You'll want this snugged up, but it'll still be able to freely move, so we're just gonna lay it down. So once you have that tightened down, make sure that the functionality works as it should. So when this is up, it's going to apply pressure to this point with that rubber point touching the metal. And then when you fold it down below here, there are 2 rubber panels that are going to hit the back of your seatbelt housing. Now what that's meant to do is that when you have the top fully pulled down, this is going to hit first, that way it's not metal on plastic and scratching it. So once you check that your functionality is working the proper way, you can move on to the next step. All right guys, so we got bow number 5 up top here onto these brackets. Now the thing to look for at bow 5, and also here's a little tip too, when you're looking at the specific bow, they will have a part number above it. And on each bow, there's a small sticker with the part number. Make sure you grab the right one because there are a couple that look the same. Now with this bow and specifically, there are 2 holes here and 2 holes towards the outside. These inner 2 holes are what's going to get bolted to. Make sure this is in front of this bracket assembly. And the small holes, there are a bunch of small holes over here. Make sure those are facing the front. Kind of a lot of instructions in this step. However, we want to make sure that it's done right and it all works together flawlessly, which it has been so far as long as you follow the instructions. It's basically a giant puzzle here. It's not too puzzling, but it's a giant puzzle with a bunch of pieces. Just follow along and use this video to really help you guys get it dialed in. Now, this is why I told you also in the last step, or when we were messing with this assembly, not to tighten down that bracket because you do have a little bit of wiggle room to stretch it from side to side to make sure that this bolts up. All right guys, the next step is to install this bracket onto the back of bow 5. Now with these brackets, they are side specific and they are up and down specific. So it's going to look exactly like this, and it's going to bolt to the back side of it. So I'm gonna bolt it down just the exact same way I just bolted that bracket onto it. And then using our T30 Torx bit, same thing here, we're gonna go ahead and tighten this up. Make sure to tighten them evenly and don't over tighten them. All right guys, the next step is to install the entire sliding mechanism. Now on the right hand side, this is going to be 58572, and you're going to go ahead and get the small dowel pin into the rail and then slide the entire assembly forward on it. We'll be a little bit snug in the back. However, it will go all the way forward. This section here will get bolted down to the bracket we installed on bow number 5 using the shoulder 10mm bolt, the thick washer on the outside, and then once you push it through, the thin washer will go on the inside and pop in, creating a nice bushing. And then get that tightened down using a 10mm ratchet or socket. And don't go too tight because you don't want to crush that bushing. That's what this whole thing pivots on. So there is a cover for the section we just slid that top piece onto. Now to get that on, what you need to do is go ahead and grab your right hand side piece or left hand depending on what side, and simply going to go right behind here like that. And then you're going to use your 4mm Allen key bolts and get them started just by hand at first. And we get them tightened up using a 4mm Allen key, or we have a 4mm Allen key socket. A little bit difficult to explain while we're doing it, but what is going to happen is we're going to fold the soft top basically the opposite way. So imagine if you folded it all the way forward over your hood, that's how it will be sitting. So basically what we're doing here, you have two exposed slots. Now what's going to happen is you're going to have this soft top flipped perfectly over the way it would be sitting in your Jeep. So it slots nice down in, and then you're going to take the bow assembly, pull it down, and there are two holes in your bow assembly. Those two holes are going to correlate with those two holes on the header panel. So then go ahead, and what we're going to do is grab the 4mm Allen key bolts, and get them started. So now we're going to take the entire soft top assembly and pull it up over the whole vehicle, just like so. Once we have the soft top folded up over, we are now going to install the seal, and that's for right above those screws that are on either side. So what you want to do is start with the notch part. These are side specific, so we're just going to start with the notch side and then work our way right on back and get it into the seal. There's like a channel that it sits into, and then we'll push it nice and hard. That way we can get it to stick the whole way back. And so what this is going to do is give you a nice seal right up here on the edge for that header panel when it's raining or inclement weather. Obviously repeat the same process on the other side. You probably saw Brendan over there doing it, and then we can move on to the next step. Moving from the front all the way to the back, you can see the cable protruding out of this backside. And if yours isn't, just open up the hole here a little bit and you will have to pull it out just from working on that front end. Now what you're going to do is use these barrel screws and use the barrel side coming through the bracket, throw on the piece of cable, and then we can tighten this down. I'm just going to do it by hand here. And then using a flathead screwdriver, we can tighten this barrel down. All right guys, so the next step, we're going to be attaching this stay strap piece of fabric onto the top of bow 6 using the Phillips head screws. And you line it up with the hole. And then the hole on the top, there are going to be two up here. And if you have a buddy or someone you can get to help you do this part, it is a little bit tricky. There you go. And then once you have those done, repeat the same process on the other side, and then we can go underneath, and that's the, remember that first bow we installed with all the holes at the front, that's what's going to attach to this piece here. So we are going to flip this around, get this piece to attach the proper way, and we'll show you how we can do that too. All right guys, so Brendan is obviously in the back of the Jeep. He's tanking away at that rear bow, the bow number 6. And what you have to do is, remember I said on the rear bow, make sure that those holes were facing forward. Now there is a plastic channel. You'll want to wrap that around the back of the bow and come up in front of it, and there are slotted holes. With those holes, you'll put in the screws inside there. There's probably like 8 or 10 going across, but honestly, there's no real way of us showing you inside of this cab on how to do it. We do leave the top completely unattached for this part, because if it was attached, this would not be able to get done. You cannot attach that front header assembly, or else it won't work. So basically, we're gonna go ahead, do that now, flip it down, and then continue on. But just go across nice and evenly, get one started, and then work your way towards each outer edge. Now we're gonna attach the front section of the stay strap. Now, I'll tell you guys, this is one of the trickiest parts of the entire install. What I do recommend doing is folding the entire top back by pulling the yellow straps and holding it kind of just like this. You're gonna need 2 people to do this one, or if you've got a piece of 2x4 that you could hold up the top. But you're going to flip that stay strap around bow number 5, and then use 2 of those Phillips head screws and get that tightened into those 2 holes. That's why it was very important to make sure those holes were facing front, and this is why we did that. Once that's on, get the top to flip back forward again. Now with the entire top pulled all the way back and latched up front, we're all nice and tight. It is going to be very tight of a fit. Once that happens though, you can go ahead and tighten down all 3 of those bolts. All right guys, so we got these 3 bolts tightened up here. Brendan's inside the cab and he's just attaching all the Velcro to those center bows. Then we're gonna pull this thing outside, let it sit. It's 85 degrees and very sunny here in PA. So we're gonna let it sit outside over lunchtime here. Then we'll go ahead and throw all of our side windows on to make sure everything is tight and good to go. And that's gonna be it for this top. It looks really good so far, just with that twill. It is very tight though, so if you guys are doing this in a springtime or fall, let it warm up a little bit, or maybe let it sit out in the sun, really let it bake before you go to try and put it on. Because if you pull some things too tight, you can break them. So just be very cognizant of that. We're gonna let this one heat up and then keep going. All right guys, so we got the Jeep outside here and it was really hot today, so we let it bake in the sun and just pulled it into the shade here to install the rear and the side windows. As you can see, we kind of have it in a safari mode right now, where basically just the top section is on, and what's neat about this top is that this will hold nice and firmly and secure like this. So you can actually have none of the windows in the back, take your doors off, and still kind of have a bikini safari style top that, yeah, will get a little bit wet back here, but it's still gonna keep you and most of your things inside your Jeep still pretty dry. But right now we're gonna show you how to slide the side window on, and then we'll put the rear window on as well. Now if you have a factory soft top, it's pretty much the exact same. Go ahead and grab your soft window, and then you're gonna slide this top section. There's a slotted hole that this is gonna go on, and then pull this up so that way the Velcro doesn't attach. And then in the back corner, this silver stud will go into that grommet we installed. And once again, still leaving this not attached at all with the Velcro. And then in the back, you've got a tiny little strap. The corner will tuck in just like so. And then I like to normally do the front, this front seam, and then go right down through and do the side. And you can see it's much easier once you actually let it soak the sun up a little bit. And then I put the Velcro on. And then for the back window, you're gonna have that same channel up top, except it's gonna run all the way across. So if you have a second person, makes it really easy just to run it all the way across, and then go ahead and tuck your side pieces in. And then our tailgate bar will go right into place. Pop these on. And that's it. Install is done and our soft top is completely on. All right guys, we just got the installation complete on our brand new Bestop soft top for our 2021 Jeep JL Wrangler. As you can see, this is a gorgeous twill material, and it honestly looks really great on the Sarge green here. Now this is gonna have some of the same great features that you would get from a factory soft top, however, they've improved on that capability. Also, you still have the ability to fold it all the way back, leave it in safari mode, or just do the Sunrider. Any way that you choose, you can get it done with this Bestop soft top. Now, if you guys want to check one of these out for your vehicle, be sure to visit cjponyparts.com, where you can find this soft top as well as a wide variety of other tops and accessories for your off-road vehicle. Now, until next time, we'll show you guys off this soft top in the future here. I'm sure to be loving it. It is June here in Pennsylvania, and it is getting toasty out, so I'm definitely glad to have this on and remove that hard and bulky hard top. Next time, guys, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying home. I'll see you out on the trails.